Hey guys, it's Heather here with Underwater Panther, and I am working on my Planetary Series here on my channel, and we are moving on to Mars. So, Mars represents... I'm getting exhausted. I'm losing my spot here. Okay, so the blade, the boundary, and the becoming. So what Mars really is, the engine of your becoming. I've just went over Earth in depth, and so now we got to add in the masculine archetype here. We got to balance. Next, I'll do the moon, which is feminine. So I was going to do the moon before Mars, and I was like, no, I better get some of the masculine in here. So Mars is not anger. Mars is not masculine aggression. Mars is not ego. Mars is your internal ignition system. Mars rules action, boundaries, desire, drive, courage, direction, sexual energy, primal sexual energy, the will to exist and to express. If the sun is identity, Mars is identity in motion. If Mercury is mind, Mars is intention with teeth. If Earth is what you are becoming, Mars is how you move toward that becoming. Every soul incarnates with a Mars signature that answers two questions. How do you go after what your soul wants? How do you defend yourself when threatened? Your Mars tells a story of how you fight, how you pursue, how you assert, how you penetrate life. The psychological layer, Mars as instinct and survival. In psychology, Mars corresponds to the assertive self, the boundary setting self, the survival self, the competitive self, the sexual instinct, the fight impulse. But psychologically, Mars also reveals your triggers, your anger style, confrontation pattern, conflict avoidance or conflict addiction, courage and cowardice dynamics, and relationship with risk and pressure. Mars shows, do you explode? Do you express? Do you shut down? Do you attack yourself instead of the source? Mars is your fight response, but also your forward response. When Mars is wounded, you see people pleasing, self betrayal, passive aggression, explosive rage, chronic burnout, fear of desire, fear of trying, fear of succeeding, and fear of being seen. Mars wounds show up as identity paralysis. Mars mastery shows up as identity momentum. My whole chart is ruled by Mars. I'm in Aries rising, so I'm not your Scorpio side of Mars. I am your Aries side of Mars. All right, so archetypal layer, the warrior, the hunter, the blacksmith. Mars traditionally rules warriors, but not the cartoon war guy. Mars rules the hunter, the strategist, the blacksmith, the responder, the initiator, the one who makes the first move. Mars is the part of you that says, I will go first, I will risk discomfort, I will face fear. Mars is not cruelty, Mars is willingness. You cannot fulfill your sun until your Mars is activated. You cannot walk your north node without Mars pushing your feet forward. If Venus is attraction, Mars is pursuit. If Moon is emotional need, Mars is emotional courage. The evolutionary layer, Mars across ages. Age of Aries, Mars was exalted. War, conquest, empire, physical courage, and raw dominance. Age of Pisces, Mars collapsed inward, guilt around desire. Repression, martyrdom, passive aggression, and anger turned spiritualized or silenced. And now we are in the age of Aquarius. Mars is evolving. Instead of war, we have strategy. Instead of domination, we have direction. Instead of aggression, we have precision. Instead of impulse, we have intention. Instead of reaction, we have clarity. And instead of ego battles, we have energetic integrity. Aquarian Mars is activated through intelligence, not force, activated by purpose, not power, activated by freedom, not hierarchy. This age requires sovereign Mars, not violent Mars. Mars today, Pluto and Aquarius reforging masculine energy. So, yes, we have Pluto in Aquarius, and we have that until 2044. Exciting, right? So right now, the collective Mars is undergoing a purge. The collective masculine. Pluto in Aquarius is killing ego-driven masculinity, killing domination culture, killing performative aggression, killing the provider equals worth wound, and killing patriarchal scripts, and rebirthing conscious direction, meaningful courage, sovereign boundaries, spiritual integrity, action aligned with purpose, and relational responsibility. We are watching the death of the false warrior and the birth of the sacred initiator. Mars shadow, when the blade turns inward. Mars in shadow becomes self-destruction, sabotage, addiction to chaos, addiction, shame around desire, fear of conflict, fear of success, rage attacks, suppression until explosion, competition against the self. Shadow Mars either burns others or implodes inward. Mars collapses when boundaries were punished, desire was shamed, anger was unsafe, risk led to abandonment, confidence was mocked. Every Mars wound is a wound to agency. Mars mastery, clean fire. A healthy Mars looks like grounded confidence, clear boundaries, decisive action, appropriate anger, honest desire, emotional courage, sexual integrity, consistent effort, and sustainable drive. Mars mastery is precision without brutality. A mature Mars knows I don't need to hurt anyone to move forward. A mature Mars chooses direction over domination, purpose over impulse, strategy over chaos, and presence over aggression. Mars and personal development, how you activate your Mars. All right, so here are the Mars activation stages. Stage 1, dormant Mars. You hesitate, you overthink, you fear failure, you outsource leadership. Stage 2, reactive Mars. You fight everything. Everything feels like a threat. You confuse adrenaline with aliveness. Stage 3, awakening Mars. You start saying no. You start protecting your time. You take risk again. You choose direction over comfort. Stage 4, conscious Mars. You act with precision. You regulate your anger. You move forward towards purpose. You defend your becoming. Stage 5, sacred Mars. Action becomes devotion. Courage becomes identity. Your will becomes aligned with soul. You initiate transformation itself. This is the Mars every awakened person eventually becomes. All right, so for example, my Mars. I am an Aries rising. My Mars rules my entire life trajectory. Mars decides whether I collapse or rise. Mars is my initiator. Mars is my identity's engine. Mars is my survival instinct and my calling. Mars for me is certainly not optional. It is destiny. It is my destiny. I incarnated to learn how to lead, how to initiate, how to protect myself, how to move first, and how to cut away anything that blocks my becoming. My Mars is what allows me to speak truth, expose illusions, rise from trauma, walk alone when needed, and rebuild myself repeatedly. I feel my Aries rising as a fire that I cannot, it is so very strong in me. My rising sign, your rising sign is what you literally are born into. I always say that I was born ready. Like I was born a warrior fighting. I was born ready. I was actually premature when I was born. I was born, I think it was like almost 2 months, a month and a half early. So I was like, it's a wild story. But I came in an absolute warrior fighting for my own life. And I had to stay in an incubator for 11 days, actually. And so, yes, I certainly came in fighting. I am a fighter. I am a warrior, spiritual gangster. I'm a pioneer. I have a lot of Aries energy on both sides of the family. I have a lot of entrepreneurial family members, a lot of farmers. My great grandfather actually, he was Aries, actually. Yes, he was an Aries. He was a pilot. He ended up buying 11 airplanes and he literally opened, I think it was 3 or 4 airports, the first ones in our area. I still live on the farm. I'm still around my family. I live right down the road from my great grandfather's house. He actually opened up an airport in his own house before he ended up opening the city's airport. And then he opened up multiple cities around us, their first airport. And so I am a pioneer in my own right with this astro-psychology business going on here. I have a lot of series going on here, a lot of books. My mind is always going. And yeah, that is certainly who I am, Aries. I listen to a lot of Aries people here on YouTube. It is really wild. Even before I started studying all this, I started realizing the pattern of I just absolutely love Aries people. So, yes, my Mars is actually in Taurus in the second house. And so I certainly body built, had a fitness business, and yes, Mars in Taurus. Like, I am slow to anger, but once I'm there, like it's hard for me to chill. Like I'm very, very chill. I am very chill. But once I get going, it's hard for me to stop. And yeah, so Mars is certainly one of my most activated planets and one of my greatest spiritual tools for sure. All right, so Mars in the Aquarian age, collective rebirth of courage. As we move deeper into the Aquarian paradigm, so we are in the age of Aquarius, and that's why I'm adding this little section into all of the planets and all of my series coming from that lens because we are all evolving in many different ways. So, as we move deeper into the Aquarian age, aggression collapses, false dominance collapses, performative masculinity collapses, chaos masculinity collapses, and shadow Mars gets exposed. And strategic intelligence rises, principled conflict, conscious leadership, boundary sovereignty, embodied courage, and energetic integrity. Mars becomes the sword of clarity, the boundary of truth, the guardian of the nervous system, and the initiator of the collective evolution. The Aquarian world does not need more war. It needs clean fire. So, in closing, Mars is not your anger necessarily. Mars is your willingness on the higher octave. Willingness to act, to confront, to choose, to protect, to try, to begin. Your Mars is the engine of your evolution. Without Mars, nothing in your chart can move. Master your Mars and your entire life realigns. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I have completely hit my wall. I am burnout. I am a burnout. It takes a lot for me to burn out, but yes, I am going to do the rest or a couple more videos tomorrow on this series, and then I will move on to my next series and continue rotating in between series to get my foundational videos out. Then I'm going to create more ebooks, and then I am going to start, after I get 1,000 subscribers, I plan on opening a membership as well as my own classroom. I'm not really sure on what platform where I sell my books I can do courses, and I am like, once I'm locked in, I'm extremely loyal. Extremely loyal. Once I start something, I see it through. And so I'm probably going to do courses on my own website. I'm not really sure how that's going to play out yet, but that's probably where I will take it. So these are all foundational videos. I'm going to get more in depth as time goes on. So anyways, if you have any thoughts, feelings, certainly feel free to comment in the comment section. Share whatever is on your mind. I am very interested in hearing your thoughts on this topic. Check out my ebooks, check out my other playlists. I have a lot going on, combining a lot of things together here. And anyways, take care of yourselves out there in this Aquarian age. It is a wild ass ride. Many systems are collapsing. We are talking everything. Everything is shifting. Everything is shifting in this age. I am both extremely excited. We are uncovering secrets. We are our own journalists. A lot more people are doing research. A lot more people are capable of doing quicker research. And that's exciting. A lot of shadows are being brought out into the light. But in the same breath, this age has a lot of deep fake AI. There's a lot of crap information. The younger generations are growing up in total fakeness online. So we need to be aware of the highlights of this age as well as the shadow of this age. Both are, time is like speeding up to a degree, and it is fascinating to me because we are all able to update ourselves and communicate on a very, very quick scale, quick pace for sure. So anyways, like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.